My name is Mira Downey. I'm a junior associate with the Consensus Building Institute, or CBI. I'm going to be walking through the focus group synthesis and highlighting some takeaways from the synthesis. The full report is available on the CAG's website. Um, this was a part of the broad public input process. The City of Somerville, in collaboration with Dream Collaborative and the Consensus Building Institute, convened 6 targeted focus groups to provide deeper insights into the priorities, interests, and concerns underlying the community's preferences on the school building options. There were 6 focus groups. They're listed here. They were Somerville Public School staff, parents, guardians, and abutters of the Winter Hill and Brown School, abutters and users of Trauma Field, parents and guardians of children in early childhood years, so ages 0 to 4, parents and guardians of multilingual learners, and parents and guardians of Somerville Public Schools special education students. I'm going to start us off by giving a high-level summary of the priority themes that came out in all or most of the focus groups, and then I'll go into more detail on each of the 6 focus groups. Um, the aim of the summary is to capture the perspectives of self-selected participants. They represent a specific set of stakeholders, um, and the summary is based on their own words without evaluation of accuracy or factual basis of those views. It should not be taken as fully representative or of all perspectives, nor as statements of fact. Okay. This is a list of key themes that came out across the focus groups, starting with prioritizing the success of the debt exclusion. The majority of focus groups highlighted the success of a citywide debt exclusion vote to support the project as a priority consideration. With that, many participants emphasized that the Trum Fields location is a beloved community space and resource, and felt that option 3 was unlikely to secure the necessary votes for a debt exclusion. They also cited other concerns such as traffic impacts, walkability, and field replacement as related to this option 3. Participants overall supported increasing the amount of community space in Somerville through this recommendation, and some participants appreciated the opportunities that a larger facility offered for community needs and activities. Most participants acknowledged the benefits of neighborhood schools. For some participants, this was sufficient rationale to prefer keeping separate schools. However, for many, this weighed lower in their priority concerns compared to funding and other perceived drawbacks. With the exception of most members of the Brown and Winter Hill parent focus groups, participants familiar with the Brown School building condition felt that it was unsafe and untenable in the short to medium term, and raised concerns about leaving its needs unaddressed in this project, given skepticism about a future debt exclusion funding for improvements for the building. There was a lot of interest across the focus groups regarding the future use of vacant school buildings and concern about creating sites that remain vacant for a long time. Uh, Participants raised beneficial reuse suggestions, one of note being the Brown School building being used for pre-K and kindergarten if the schools were combined. Across all the focus groups, transportation was cited as a critical consideration. Specifically, participants expressed a strong desire to create walkable schools and avoid generating additional car congestion on already busy streets. Participants suggested that any decision should include thoughtful planning and resources to support safe and easy routes to school for students. Lastly, at least one participant in each of the focus groups emphasized equity as an important priority. Moving on. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on each of them now, starting with the Somerville Public School staff focus group. There were 9 staff members in attendance, and they unanimously supported option 2 to rebuild at Sycamore with capacity for Brown. Regarding option 1, There was concern about the Brown School's lack of ADA compliance, and staff noted that this can cause treacherous conditions for staff and students today. Staff also noted the tremendous risk that of building failure and what this creates for the city and district in both the short and long term, given the lack of swing space or other attractive alternatives in the district to accommodate displaced students. For option two, staff were excited about the flexibility that a larger building could offer for educational programming, including dedicated spaces for arts, science labs, and potential community use like playgroups. A few participants felt that a larger school facility offered options for students in the AIM program to use and create spaces that best support their needs. Um, a large emphasis of their discussion was the Sycamore Street location. Staff considered it an ideal and central location for a school facility. Staff members who neighbor the Winter Hill School building viewed it as a very important part of the surrounding community and the neighborhood's identity. For option three, staff opposed the option due to increased traffic and the perceived unpopularity among residents for this option. The next group is parents and guardians and abutters of Winter Hill and Brown School. There were 7 participants. They unanimously supported option 1 to rebuild separately the Winter Hill School at Sycamore and then address Brown School later. Parents expressed appreciation for the community forged between parents and supported maintaining neighborhood schools through option 1. Several parents noted that they purchased their homes to be closer to a school building. A few of the other considerations they raised regarding option 1 included walkability and the ease of getting to the schools at their current locations on Willow Ave and Sycamore Street, and they felt that walkability was a key feature of the Somerville schools. Parents generally preferred the current school capacities and felt that small schools were beneficial for young children and students who participate in the AIM program. For option 2, parents shared concern over the enrollment capacity. Parents noted the additional complexity for administrators in school operations in a larger school facility. A few parents considered how a larger school might be challenging for students with individualized education plans or IEPs. And for students in the AIM program, that's Adapt, Include, and Motivate program for students on the autism spectrum. Some parents also raised fears about how young children would find it challenging to navigate a school building with older children that comes with the K-8 school model. Parents in this group opposed the option 3 to rebuild on Trump due to increased traffic, major road crossings for students getting to school, and the perceived timeline of field replacement. Moving on, there was a focus group with abutters and users of Trump Field. There were 8 participants. They unanimously opposed option 3, the rebuild at Trump Field, and shared a preference for option 2, combined school at Sycamore. Regarding option 1, participants acknowledged parents' preference for neighborhood schools. And one member noted that Summerall has a history of 21 small neighborhood schools, of which the Brown is the last still in use. Several parents felt that continuing to invest in the Brown School building was an inequitable use of city funds. Other participants were concerned about support for multiple overrides that would cost more and separately benefit fewer families. Lastly, there was a bit of concern about the increase without an increase in the school district's enrollment capacity, that the Brown School could face building failure and encounter the same difficulties now affecting the Winter Hill School. For option two, participants emphasized the importance of the financial component of the decision and hoped the city would seek to maximize MSBA funding available now. Um, Participants also highlighted the city's current lack of swing space and how that puts pressure on the other schools in the district. They were concerned that this could cause serious issues if another building could no longer accommodate students. Regarding option three, there was strong opposition due to Trum's unique value to the community, student safety around large DPW machinery coming on and off the DPW site, and transportation to the Trum Field location for parents and students. The next group was parents and guardians of children in early childhood years, ages 0 to 4. There were 9 participants in this group. They were largely divided in between favoring option 1 and option 2. The group expressed limited interest in option 3. There was a strong emphasis on community space and walkability. For option 1, the parents who preferred this option shared interests in smaller schools for their own children, and noted that that small schools work well for young children. Most participants noted that being able to walk to school is a high priority for them, and some parents felt that maintaining 2 separate schools increased the number of walkable options for parents. Parents who shared concerns about option 1 noted concerns about a standalone debt exclusion to renovate the Brown School. They also worried about the emergence of expensive capital projects that could further delay the Brown School's renovation. For option 2, the parents who were interested, there was an abundant interest in community use and for the entire Somerville community. There was belief that a bigger facility would offer more opportunities to host citywide events and offer community spaces like the high school's makerspace. For parents who expressed concern with option 2, one parent expressed concern that permanently removing the Brown School building from the district map would leave a vacant site and negatively alter the neighborhood. For option 3, parents feared the loss of Trum Field as an important third space and student safety traveling to the location. They specifically noted that increased car capacity could result in the level of higher level of emissions that would be unsafe for children, and that traffic on the major street would be challenging for walking to school. There was a focus group with parents and guardians of children in early There was a focus group with parents and guardians of Somerville Public School special education students. There were 7 participants. The group, especially Brown School and Winter Hill School parents, leaned towards separate school building projects, and parents elevated outdoor and recreational space as key considerations. Some of the key takeaways as they relate to each option are that parents preferred option 1, citing benefits of the K-5 school model. One parent believed the K-5 model created a more advantageous learning environment compared to K-8 schools, and several parents also elevated other benefits of maintaining a K-5 school. Parents who shared concerns about this option highlighted the urgency of renovating the Brown School, citing the current inaccessibility to many district students and risks of excluding Brown School student or staff member if their mobility needs changed. One parent reported that regardless of interest in sending their child to the Brown School, the lack of dedicated special education spaces made it an untenable option for their child. For option 2, there was some interest based on the perceived benefits of the K-8 model, noting that Older children can serve as role models to younger kids. Um, those concerned with this option shared fears about losing the recreational space at the Sycamore Street site, the height of the potential building, and noted that the larger school size um, could be challenging. One parent noted that the smaller school size fostered close relationships between principals and students, which they found crucial in navigating disciplinary issues with their child. The parent raised concern about administrators at a large school being able to have the same familiarity and deep connection with individual children due to the scale of the school. Option three was largely unpopular due to admissions at the location, student safety for school travel, and the perceived unpopularity of the debt exclusion vote. Lastly, there was a focus group with parents and guardians of multilingual learners. There were 4 participants in this virtual focus group. Um, one participant shared a strong preference for option one. The remaining participants had no strong preferences regarding the size or location of the school. Participants expressed interest in schools in close proximity to housing and facilities with space for outdoor recreation. For option one parent strongly advocated for prioritizing the Winter Hill and noted that the current locations of the buildings are easy for families to travel to. For option two, there was some interest in a bigger facility that could offer opportunities to host city and school-wide and city events. There was also concern about the AIM program being hosted in a large school facility. That was all of the groups, and if you would like to look at the entire synthesis, it is available online.